We're in Philadelphia, we're doing a hop on, hop off bus tour. I think it's 26 or 28 stops and it's a 16-mile journey.
You'll see the statue of Joseph Uriah Levy, and he's in front of the oldest Jewish synagogue in America. On your right, you're overlooking Christ Church burial grounds, where Benjamin Franklin is buried, and 7 signers of the Declaration of Independence are buried on your right.
Oh, all right.
Where they're coming from. Oh, whenever there's helicopters, that means there's something going on.
Yeah. It's not going far, it's hovering. Just...
Now, on your right, this is the burial ground that takes off from Christ Church, which is over by the Delaware River. You can't have a cemetery right near the river. What happens when the river overflows? It overflows your cemetery and you got floating coffins. So they had to build the burial ground further inland.
Right.
On your left, this building at the corner was the Fighting Quakers Meeting House, which is an oxymoron, because Quakers were pacifists, make love, not war. Well, these Quakers fought in the Revolutionary War and participated. So they got kicked out of the regular Quaker Meeting House, but they still wanted to be Quakers. So they started a new Quaker Meeting House. This one is a lot smaller than the one that they got kicked out of. On your front right, this oatmeal colored building, the world's largest coin producing mint on your right. Free tours, 9 to 4 o'clock, no cameras, no bags, and no free samples. Before you look the mint on your right, this was the Philadelphia Women's President's Committee, but women didn't have equal rights. It was suffrage, the government took it away from them. If we were to go straight, that's the path to walk across the Benjamin Franklin Bridge, the ramp. On your left, where you see that red roof, can you see that church steeple? That's where St. John of Ponce is in glass, the first American saint, the man that invented Catholic high schools in America. Now, on your left, up this intersection, you're going to see a white church clock steeple called St. Augustine's. It's where Villanova University started. Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, The Sixth Sense, where Bruce Willis met the little boy playing with the toy soldiers. And it's the Catholic Church that made them move the Benjamin Franklin Bridge. It had political clout sitting in the pews. And it's across the street from the old St. George's Church, where in 1787, Africans walked out of the church and started a whole new religion. On your left, you see a clock. On your left, right down through the window, that's the police station from the movie Fallen. John Pittman, Denzel Washington, Donald Sutherland. And right now, you're traveling on the old Sassafras Street. They used to make root beer out of sassafras. But this became Race Street because of the illegal horse racing and the illegal gambling on the horse racing. But this area is like Soho, New York. There are over 50 art galleries in this area, and every first Friday of the month after 5 o'clock, the over 50 art galleries are free. And they have free art classes. On your left, in the parking lot, on your left, you're looking at the artwork, Night in Philadelphia. On your right, you'll see the bar. People mistake this bar for Danny DeVito's Patty's Pub. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. In front of you, up above, you're looking at the blue 1.8 mile Benjamin Franklin Bridge. Can you see the train going across? And it's free to drive across, but New Jersey charges $5 to come back. It's a one-way toll bridge. Now, if we were to go straight under the bridge there are piers that have entertainment. On your left, you're looking at the free firefighters hall, you said, not firemen. Because in our country, women are firefighters. That's what we say before Tuesday through Saturday. On your left, down the one-way street. On your left, down the one-way street. That's Jeremiah Albert's Alley, the oldest continuously lived on street in the 13th colony. Mind in England, you can see a flag down here? Now on that street, there used to live people like captains, barbers, bakers, seamstress, Taylors. But our next stop will be the famous Betsy Adams Griscom Ross Claypool House, the woman that's honored with making the American flag, that was married 3 times, 7 daughters, and no boys. The house is coming up on your right. It's a white shuttered building. She's buried when you walk in the gate on the left-hand side with her 3rd husband. And all of her husbands were named John. On your right, right here with the white shutters. And see those 3 flower pots down there, the orange flower pots? That's where she's buried with her 3rd husband. On your right, the building with the green in it, this was the Real World from MTV, music, television, video. But if you're an adult, you know that program is not the real world. The real world is when you got student loans you gotta pay back, mortgages, HMO problems, children that won't listen to you. That's the real world. And this intersection right here, this was Cincinnati, Ohio, in the movie Beloved, Oprah Winfrey and Danny Glover. On your left, if the sun is not in your eyes, you're looking at the largest Quaker meeting house in the United States. This is the one that kicked the other guys out. On your right, you'll see Benjamin Franklin made out of keys. And look at the right rear. Look at the right rear at the wall behind you on your right. That's John Travolta's apartment in the movie Blowout. Now, Benjamin Franklin was born in Boston, 1706. He died in Philadelphia in 1790 at the Green Gate on your left, coming up at the corner. He's buried there with his wife, his daughter, and his son. Can you see the Green Gate coming up? Now, he had over 200 inventions and was a self-made millionaire by the age of 40. Franklin did things like the Philosophical Society, the Free Loaning Library, the Postal System, the Ambassador to France, the first to utilize electricity. On your right, in 1787, he was one of the 42 signers of the Constitution. On your left, you'll see Independence Hall. He was one of the 56 signers of the Declaration of Independence. On your front right, can you see the Federal Reserve Bank? No. If you look at the plaque at the corner down below where the hedges are at, it's a picture of what used to be here. On your right was the first women's medical college in America, where the first women were certified as doctors because men did not understand the complexity of the female anatomy. So they taught women to be educated as doctors to treat other women. Gentlemen, do you know what the women are saying about us today? We still don't understand. On your front right, the Brown Building, the first African-American museum of its kind. The main exhibit is Audacious Freedom, 100 Years of African Participation. You had to be audaciously bold as an African slave to go up against the government to get the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, because as an African slave in America, you were not allowed to learn how to read or write. So what do you know about big words like Emancipation, Proclamation, Declaration? An African sport on both sides of the American Revolutionary War. On your right, the white building across the parking lot that used to be our police headquarters. When you look down on it, it's 2 handcuffs on a connecting turret, or 2 donuts and a cup of coffee. On your left, up above, you're looking at the glass of reflections. That's our 1% art law. 1% of the cost of redoing that garage with the public art. In our front window, to the right, can you see the word park with the green dragons? We're about to go to Little Italy, where everything is written in Chinese. Well, if I told you Yugoslavia, could you read any of the writings? But high up above the yellow building to your left, can you see the statue of William Penn? That is the tallest sculpture of anybody in the world on top of a building. 37 feet tall. On your right, you're looking at the Korean dragon, and this is stop number 4. But Today, this is the Asian Pacific community. It went from being the third largest Chinatown in America. It was San Francisco, New York, Philadelphia. Have your cameras ready for the intersection on your right coming up. You're going to see the Chinatown welcoming gate behind the hand-pulled noodle sign. The gate on your right is going to be 80 tons, 40 feet tall, put together like a jigsaw puzzle, given to Philadelphia from Tianjin, China. Look on your right, up above, it says Fei Chong Hua Fu, Philadelphia, Chinatown. The bridge coming up in front of you was the original Reading Railroad from the game of Monopoly until it went bankrupt. Today, it is one of the world's largest convention centers, where right now, we are hosting the world's largest indoor flower show. And it is super fantastic. Those exits coming up in front of us on that bridge, that's the Baltimore Airport from the movie 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt. Up above on your left, can you see that oval roof? That's one of the world's largest single-span oval roofs still in activation. It's a smoky old train shed that today is a beautiful ballroom. On your left, down below, open 8 to 6 o'clock, the Reading Terminal Market. Please don't walk around while the bus is moving, sir. On your left is from the movie National Treasure, where Diane Kruger jumped behind the meat counter. On your left, you have a choice of over 80 different vendors and restaurants when everybody's here. Like right here on your left, you got the spare ribs, the baby back ribs, and the Amish pastries. You got cheesesteaks, you got hoagies. Anybody for the stop number 6 or number 5? Anybody for the Reading Terminal Market? I got nobody. Look up on your right, high up above on your right, you'll see Will Penn on top of City Hall. I think we're picking up, Jerry. And where's our staff? Nobody's coming down. I have to make sure I know where they're going. That's in New York with George Carlin and Ben Affleck. That's where Ben Affleck badmouthed Will Smith at a press conference and doesn't get smacked. Now that Les Paul Gibson guitar, that's a guitar that revolutionized rock and roll, made in Tennessee. It took rock and roll from a folk guitar to an amplified guitar. Now, inside that Hard Rock Cafe, you'll find Dick Clark, because Bandstand started in Philadelphia at 46th and Market Street with a guy named Bob Horn who got fired. Dick Clark got the job and moved to California and became American Bandstand. We're going hopping to Philadelphia way. We're going Bandstand, Bandstand. In England, did they ever have any teenage dance shows? I know y'all dance in England. Come on, because I saw To Sir With Love. You know what saw To Sir With Love with Sidney Poitier?
Yeah, we know.
Taylor Swift has a dress inside there also. On your left, the Knowles Hotel. That's where Adam Sandler's client stayed in the movie Hustle. On your left, over the Scepter, public transit, slow, expensive, public traffic accidents. Like England, senior citizens ride for free here. 65 and over. High up above, look up in front of you. You're looking at William Penn on top of City Hall. It took 30 years to get that sculpture up there, 1871 to 1901. On your right, down below at the wall, on your right, that's called the Tree of Knowledge. Look under the arch in front of you, down below. Can you see the blue plaque? Right there in front of you? Mother's Day by Anna Jarvis. And on your left, you'll see some of the iron railings, like the green brass railings. A couple months ago, a guy stole the brass railings. They were worth over $30,000.
Wow.
On your left, you'll see John Wanamaker, the man that invented the saying, the customer is always right. On your left, inventor of the price tag, the return policy, the receipt. He also invented free home delivery, not Amazon.com. Gave him Monopoly, and we just left the reading railroad when we gave him Monopoly. At the corner on your front right, down below, can you see the flag on your front right, down below? It's the first flag, the first zoo, the first circus, the first art museum, the first volunteer fire department, the first African-American woman doctor, the first zoo of America. We got the first zoo that they allow you to feed your children to the animal. Your children to feed the animal. Way over on your right, you can see the sunshine on a mural called La Meridian. That mural is at the beginning of a show called Cold Case. Take this one back to England. Take a shot of Will Pitt on top of City Hall.
Yeah, I've done that, mate. Yeah.
So you see the manly point of view?
Yeah.
You get the point?
Yeah.
That's an arm extension. Now you get the and there's your flag's not up here. Your flag will be on the left right there.
Oh, no, I would have took
not
that.
well, further up. On your left, down below, that black sculpture, that's the first Jewish Holocaust Memorial of the United States by Nathan Rappaport. On your right, oh, that's The Prophet by Limpkin right there on your right. And on your right, you'll see Three-Way Peace by Henry Moore. You tell me what it is. Is it a bowler from someone's mouth? Uncle piece of popcorn, a bird's claw, a Girl Scout bowler? You guys call them Girl Guides. You are now on the Champs-Élysées, the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. We're on your left. Can you see those statues on your left? They are diamond and dashing. And that is the Victory Brewing Company on your left, where they have my favorite beer called Golden Monkey, 9.5% in a 12-ounce bottle.
9.5?
Sounds good.
Oh, I could drink 3. After that, I'm done.
I'll have to
Okay,
get
that's
some of
it,
that.
that's it.
I'm on the lookout for that. What's it called?
Is it called
Golden Monkey
Golden
by
Monkey.
Victory.
Right, we'll have some
Now, if
of
you
that.
want something better, there's an IPA that's a blueberry beer
Yeah.
that's 12%
Wow.
in a 12-ounce bottle.
In a bottle, yeah.
Right.
On your front left, can you see the guy on the left playing Guess What's Behind My Back? That's the famous Thaddeus Kosciuszko, the Polish general engineer credited with the design of West Point Military Academy and Fort Ticonderoga. On your right, you're looking at the brownstone with the sun shining on it. That's the Cathedral of the Basilica of St. Peter and Paul. On your right, through the trees, can you see those 2 twin buildings?
Yeah.
They are the twin palaces of the Plaza de la Concorde in Paris. In Paris, they are twice the size. On your left, you'll see the green figures down below. That is the Swan Memorial Fountain. The 3 green figures represent the Delaware River, the Schuylkill River, and the Wissahickon Creek. Can you say Wissahickon? On your right, the Free Library. That is designed by the African architect that also designed the Philadelphia Museum of Art. On your right, all the world's a stage and all the men and women are really players from Shakespeare's As You Like It. Coming up is the 3rd best museum in the world for postmodern and French Impressionist art. But on your left, you're looking at Civil War pylons on your left. The far left represents the naval forces, the near left, the land forces. Some of the largest battles in America were fought right here in Pennsylvania. My next stop will be number 9, the Augusta Dam Museum. But on your right, you're looking at the Dr. Albert C. Barnes Museum. Inside, you'll find original art such as Monet's, Matisse's, Renoir's, Pablo Picasso's, Paul Cézanne's, Van Gogh's, Marcel Duchamp's, Rubens, Gauguin's, Degas. This museum on your right, watch these trees, is free every first Sunday of the month on your right. And they have classes that explain to you how horticulture and art go together. They explain why did those famous artists go insane? Why did Van Gogh cut off his ear? Not just to impress the girls, lead in the paint. Every time they licked their brushes, that was lead. It went straight to their heads. Right now, Philadelphia is having school problems where they're discovering there's a lot of lead and a lot of asbestos in the buildings in the schools. But when I was growing up, you didn't go to a building unless it had asbestos. And lead paint, we ate like potato chips. It's a different type of lead in the paint now, I guess. Julian Percy, an African chemist, was the first to take the lead out of the paint. So if you've been to the Louvre and the Museum at d'Orsay, on your right is your next stop for great art, original art. Jerry, I don't even know why the people get in this lane. It makes no sense. See, on your left, that's the fast lane. This is the tourist lane.
Oh, yeah.
And they all meet at the top of the block.
Yeah.
Now, coming up on your right is the world's second largest collection of Augusto de works of art. It's coming up on the right there. And what's the name of that statue coming up on your right? Can you guys see it? In the front, can you see that statue?
Yeah.
So do you know who it is?
Is it the thinking man?
It's the thinker.
Oh, the thinker.
The statue of a naked man thinking, honey, where did I leave my clothes? In French, his name is Le Penseur. But he's been sitting there so long, he could be La Constipation. And it is a free museum with a mandatory suggested $12 donation. Oh, you caught that, huh? Now, in order to enjoy the art on your right, you have to disobey the warning. It says, abandon hope, all ye that enter. You have to go through the gates of hell from Dante's Inferno, the Divine Comedy. See it right there on your right? And you'll find that in Paris. Our next stop will be number 10, the Eastern State Penitentiary, where we put bad little children. On your right, can you see that green glass building? That's Whole Paycheck's food market on your front right. Well, if you shop there, you know about the prices. Little one, you gotta stay in your seat. You can't keep hopping around like that, little one. Now, on your left is where you see the cutest thing in the world of children playing t-ball in the summertime. It's like watching a comedy club. On your left, this orange building is called the Broadway House. On your left is one of the first major design buildings in Philadelphia by a female architect, Elizabeth R. Hurst Fleischer. She became a female architect because she knew the problems that women have at big major events. Ladies, what is the common problem you have at big concerts? Not enough bathrooms. Yeah. Because there's not enough women as architects designing the buildings. Until you get more women architects, you're going to still have that problem. I got to sit up. Is the Eastern State Penitentiary, the first penitentiary of America. This building coming up is one of the first major design buildings in America that have hot and cold running water, indoor plumbing, toilets, and electricity, almost before the White House. In this building coming up, you'll find a jail cell of the mother and daughter that didn't get along. The dog was put in jail right here. He's the black Labrador Retriever that killed the governor's wife's cat. That's cruelty to animals. This is where the famous Al Capone jail cell is at. He got preferential treatment, tapestries on his walls, oriental rugs on his floor, catered meals with the warden. This was the insane asylum in the movie 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt. This is where Shia LaBeouf and his buddies on your right were hiding from the Decepticons in Transformers Revenge of the Fallen on your right. This is where we have haunted penitentiary tour. Do you guys do Halloween?
Yeah.
You do Halloween?
Yeah.
We do Halloween inside there. It's scary. They can't do it. It's too scary. Now we're on Fairmount Avenue, one of the gateways to Fairmount Park. This is one of the world's largest inner city parks in front of us. It has 7 18-hole golf courses, over 80 outdoor tennis courts. Are you over 8 years old? It has the Please Touch Museum for children 8 years old and younger only. You will love it. This is where the first World Fair of the United States took place in 1876. The first zoo of America is right here. Have you ever been to the zoo? You're going to our zoo tomorrow? The animals are up above you running around in cages. And they have zip lining up above the animal cages at the zoo. You think they can handle that? The kids aren't afraid of nothing. Alright? And you know our zoo. Anybody ever seen a movie called Split? The kid with the 23 personalities?
Yeah.
That was underneath our zoo.
Oh, no, yeah.
And in the movie 12 Monkeys with Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt, they let all the animals out of their cages and locked up our scientists and politicians in their places. On your right, you're looking at the Perlman, but that was the old Fidelity Life Insurance Company. It is now the annex to the Philadelphia Museum of Art. On your left, if the sun is not in your eyes, you can see the orange Minnesota Dolomite building down below. It's the Museum of Art built on top of Waterworks from the game of Monopoly. Waterworks is a free self-guided tour that teaches you where do things go when you flush. Oh, it's important to know, you don't flush oil, baby wipes, paints, or old medication down the toilet. It is to be incinerated. On your right, can you see the gold statue of St. Joan of Arc, nicknamed Joni Onoponi? And on your right, look up above at the sky. Can you see the building with the 4 diamonds at the top? Twice a year, the sun rises and sets through all 4 diamonds. That is a I M Pei design, the Chinese architect that put the glass pyramid at the Louvre in Paris. On your right, that silver sculpture, that's called Semionosis on your right. You see the silver tree? And on your right, that red abstract, that's called the Iroquois. Our next stop, yo, Adrian! The 72 Rocky Steps. We're at the top. Sylvester Stallone's footprints are at size 8.5 feet. Chuck Taylor Converse. What did Sylvester Stallone say when he arrived at the top of the 72 steps out of breath? A bubble boomer will overflow without the work for all of the automobile, because he's never been in 5. That's how a punch-drunk boxer works. The road running left and right in front of you is the famous Kelly Drive. It is named after the family of Princess Grace Kelly of Montego. They made their money off of brick and construction, and Princess Grace Kelly had over 53 movies. Not like the Kennedys. The Kennedys made their money off of bootlegging alcohol during Prohibition. They sold alcohol when it was illegal. You're the big sister, right? About 1 year? 20 months? That's almost 2 years, almost. Now this Kelly Drive goes to the right down to our Boathouse Road. It's where the first combination of the Army and the Navy was put together by Commodore Barry, the father of our Navy. That's why Philadelphia is the host of the Army-Navy football games. In front of us is Thomas Eakins Oval, where we have the oldest Thanksgiving Day parade in America. Our Thanksgiving Day parade is 104 years old this year. Macy's, 94. So have you guys ever seen the Thanksgiving Day parade? In our front window, can you see Sylvester Stallone right there in the front window? He's doing a Sure Underarm deodorant commercial. See him on your right? Raise your hands if you're sure. On your right, the Amazonian and the lion fighter. That little white building is going to be our new visitor center. On your right, out on your right is West Philadelphia. That's where Drexel University is at. The University of Pennsylvania CHOPS, First Children's Hospital of America, is built right here in Philadelphia. Then we're leaving the Louvre on our Champs-Élysées, which is also called the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. Our next stop will be the Franklin Institute. Guys, I'm going to have trees coming up on both sides of the bus, so please be aware. On your right, down below, you'll see the nude sculpture of Maya that was smuggled out of Poland from the Nazis. Did you notice the flags up and down the parkway?
Yeah, right.
Did you see your flag at the beginning in alphabetical order? That means 1% of Philadelphia makes up your nation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Every nation does not have a flag.
Oh, okay.
On your right, this construction is going to be a Coder museum. The artwork up and down this parkway is by Alexander Milner Coder, Sterling Coder, and Sandy Coder. Now, on your right, down below, you'll see the highway right here. 2 years ago, Hurricane Ida was here. That was a river. And people jumped off the bridge into the river. Went straight to the hospital for hepatitis shots. Now, you guys have been to Paris, right?
Yeah.
Do you recognize those two buildings? In Paris, they're twice the size.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The twin palaces of the Plaza de la Concorde.
Oh, yeah.
You see, Philadelphia wanted to be a European city.
Yeah.
That's why this is a Champs-Élysées without the expensive shopping.
You're right.
Now, on your right, where they're doing Disney 100, there's an IMAX theater. There's a heart that you can walk through that's so real, they gave it a pacemaker on his 50th birthday. They have a Tesla coil activated inside here. Remember Tesla?
Yeah.
The guy that wanted to make electric wireless and free? There's a giant brain. Now, in the movie National Treasure, on your left, see that gold globe? Raleigh was hiding behind that wall. Anybody for the Franklin Institute? On your left, looking through the trees, you'll see a red clay brick building, the Academy of Natural Sciences, with the velociraptors and the dinosaur bones. On your left, the word Moore, the first women's art college in America. The Moore College of Art and Design for Women. On your left, high up above, stretch your neck. You're looking at the tallest building in Philadelphia. That's 1,100. See the elevator going up on the other side?
Yeah.
1,100 feet with an all-glass outdoor elevator. Normally when one is going up, one is coming down.
Yeah.
And there's a restaurant and bar at the roof. On your right, these are the people responsible for our magnificent world largest indoor flower show. On your right, Garden Electric. On your left, you're looking at the artwork called Reach High and You'll Go Far on your left by John Saratinas. That is an inspirational message to the children. They can be anything they want in life if they work hard enough to pay back their parents.
Hey, man.
Young man, what do you plan on becoming when you're an adult to pay back your parents? What do you plan on doing? You're not gonna pay them back? Leave them in America, guys. Leave them here.
God bless America.
Now, on your right, down this intersection when we go by, you'll see the famous 30th Street train station, which was on fire yesterday. The train station was made famous from a movie called Witness with Harrison Ford, where the Amish boy witnessed the murder in the bathroom. In the movie Blowout with John Travolta, it's where John Lithgow murdered a lady in the bathroom. What does that tell you? Don't go to the bathroom. This next stop is number 18. Anybody for the German Dr. Mutter Museum, where you get to see the famous Dr. Albert Einstein's brain on display. The lyrics of John Wilkes Booth. The first gory thing you see when you walk in is a lady that turned completely into soap. You'll see a collection of over 125 skulls. A collection of over 2,500 items that were taken out of people. You'll see a tribute to a woman that won the 1909 Nobel Peace Prize and died of her invention, and so did her husband and her children. Marie Curie. Now you know why the dentist leaves the room when he takes your x-ray. She didn't leave the room.
No.
And her items are still radioactive. You get to see a doctor's instruments to make you appreciate living in the 21st century. Bloodletting, leeches, embalming fluid, how amputation is very I got nobody for the Mother Museum. Anybody for my next stop, number 19, the Hotel? Now this is 19th Street in front of us. To your right up 19th Street is Rittenhouse Square, where they did the movie In Her Shoes with Cameron Diaz and Tony Colletti. Also in that park is where Eddie Murphy had no legs in the movie Trading Places. On your right, you're going to see the Sinessa Hotel and Red Chris Steakhouse. Back in the day, this was a movie theater where you paid $5 and saw 5 Bruce Lee movies at one time. On your left, the great building 1735 is Tom Hanks' Milford in the movie Philadelphia. On your left, where it says Morgan and Lewis, you take that path, you might see the projection screen TV on at the lobby. See the blue? On your right, you're looking at the tallest building, the first buildings that broke the skyline law. They're over 970 feet, 1987. On your left, up above in front of you, can you see William Penn? That's only 548 feet. No building was to be taller than that sculpture. And you're looking at City Hall, which took 30 years to build, over 88 million bricks. On your right, you'll see the 80-foot clothespin by Klaus Ogdenberg, where the Silver Spring spells 76. And this is called Dilworth Plaza. This is where you come to Philly on New Year's Day. We have what's called the Mummers Day Parade. It is so chaotic. It started only for white men dressed in drag. Now it's for everybody. On your right, that green sculpture is called the Triangle. Are you looking at the clothespin, little one? On your front right, where those trees are at, look down below on your right. You'll see 3 firefighter helmets. 1991, they lost their lives right there. On your left, you'll see the sculpture of the African Octavius Cano. In 1871, he was assassinated in broad daylight right after he attempted to register to vote. It was called voter determination during the Reconstruction. On your right, this is the Stephen Girard Bank, down the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Stephen Girard was the Frenchman that bailed America out of the War of 1812. He was so wealthy he could name his bank after himself. And this is Broad Street, where we have the 10-mile straight downhill run with over 40,000 people. On your right, the brownstone is the Union League, 1862. On your right, behind it, there's a jazz club, Chris Cafe. On your left, where it says Wells Fargo, that was the Duke and Duke Club on your left. In front of us is Walnut Street. To the left down Walnut Street is the entertainment, like the Forest Theater, the Walnut Street Theater, which is the oldest theater in America. To your right is the upscale shopping, Cheesecake Factory, Rodeo of Paris, Jones of New York, Versace by H&M, Tiffany's Diamond Store, Lululemon. The streets on your right is so upscale, it's where women walk and gentlemen run. Anybody for this stop? 20. The theater and the Avenue of the Arts. I got nobody for stop 20. On the sidewalk, down below, you might see Brad Track, our Hall of Fame, Darryl Hall, John Oates, Ed McMahon. The guy that used to go, "Here's Johnny," was a Philadelphian. Bob Saget was a Philadelphian. You know the guy from Full House? On your front right, you're looking at the red brick opera house with the gas lamps, 1857. As compared to the Scala in Milan, Italy, there are 2 trains underneath the opera house that do not interfere with the opera, the ballet, or the orchestra. That is where Leopold Stokowski did the soundtrack to Fantasia. Right here on your right. And right now we're doing the Philadelphia Ballet. above on your right, can you see the all-glass roof of the Kimmel Center? Great concerts, great restaurants. On your left, can you see this brown building, the audience on your left? That was the recording studio of Gamble and Huff. On your left, that's where the theme to Soul Train was invented. That's where Lou Reed made, hey man, take a walk on the wild side. And all the color girls go, doo, 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 doo. That's where the Intruders made, I'll always love my mama. She's my favorite girl. On your right, where you see the silver sculpture, that's where the famous Billie Holiday lived. And if we kept going down Broad Street, we would reach Victor Cafe. Victor Cafe is an Italian restaurant where they sing opera to you as they serve you your food. And if you request it early enough, they sing the opera score of your request to you. You ever see a movie called Creed? It's Rocky's restaurant called Adrian's. On your left rear, look behind you at the wall. On your left rear, this artwork is by David Gwynn. It looks digital, but it's not. On your left front, look down below on your left, across the intersection down below on your left, it's called All About the Franks. Do you get the pun? Please put your elbow back in. Elbow back in. Do you get the pun? All About the Franks? Frank Zappa, Frank Roosevelt, Aretha Franklin, Frankenstein, the guy with the fedora hat, Frank Sinatra, St. Francis CC, Frank Burns of MASH, Frank Purdue the Chicken Man. And the name of that bar is Dirty Franks. The name of the bar is Dirty Franks. We're now about to cross over 12th Street. On your left, down 12th Street, is where William Still lived. He was the advocate that kept a boat called the Underground Railroad. You are now in Antiques Row, the oldest antiquing district in America. If you've seen the movie The Sixth Sense, the antique shop is coming up on your right, where it says Philadelphia Innovative, I can't never remember what this thing says. Right here on your right where it says Street Creative Labs. That was the antique shop in the movie The Sixth Sense on your right, where Bruce Willis threw a rock and broke the glass door and ran. Now on your left, you're looking at Lewiscom Park, where a naked bicycle ride starts and the ride public transit with no pants day.
Dear.
Y'all don't have those days in England?
Not in March.
Well, there's another thing that happens there. It's called the slut walk, where women dress as scandalously as possible and walk the streets of Philadelphia without getting arrested. They said it's their God-given rights. This is my stop 22 Antiques Row. Anybody? Where we cheat everybody and pass the savings on to you. Looks like we might be picking up. I don't know, Jerry. On your right, a show of hands where everything is handmade. On your right, where it says general classification, that was a Murphy bed store. The bed that folds out of a closet. On your right, after brass polishing, look in the window on your right, you'll see a father's nightmare after his daughter's college graduation. What do you see? Designer wedding gowns. Nothing less than $10,000. Didn't I say a father's nightmare after his daughter's graduation?
Yeah.
On your left, with your cameras ready at the wall, 1751. This is where the second grader, Benjamin Franklin, invented the first civilian hospital when he came back from England. Up above on your left, the white round balustrade where the operation is done by natural sunlight. Down below on your left is William Penn complaining about his HMO policy. And in the basement is the first insane asylum. What does HMO means? Help me out. I got no more health care. When you were having an operation on your left, you might have heard your surgeon say, missed it by that much. The anesthesia. They hit you over the head with a mallet because they didn't know about concussions. They let you smoke opium because they didn't know about the addiction. They let you drink alcohol because they didn't know about cirrhosis of the liver. Or you bit the lead bullet and you got lead poison. You ever heard of the phrase, bite the bullet?
Yes.
Down below on your right and on your left, see the colonial lamps? They used to have those in England. Those are Benjamin Franklin's ideas when he came back from England, lighting the streets to make it safer. Our next stop is going to be number 22. This area was heavily populated by free Africans during the American Revolutionary War. This is where the oldest property owned by Africans in the United States exists. It's a church called Mother Bethel, 1787, the first African Methodist Episcopal church. It's going to be on your right. This is my stop 22. Cameras on your right up this intersection. You'll see the giant white church on your right. And that's called Mother Bethel. And that is the same street that the famous W.E.B. Du Bois lived on, who helped start the NAACP and wrote the book, The Philadelphia Negro. On your left, you're going to see a synagogue on your left. There were 4 synagogues in an 8-block radius. 3 of them survived the American Revolutionary War. During the colonial days, the Jewish were not accepted in America, so they lived out here harmoniously with the Africans. Oh, today's Wednesday. Oh, no, today's not Cheap Chicken Monday. Okay. Now, on your right, just next to the last house right here on our right, in between the windows, there's a plaque, 1752, Benjamin Franklin, that says they paid their fire insurance. If your house caught on fire and you had a plaque, they did the Water Bucket Brigade. If your house caught on fire and you did not have a plaque, you had to remember to grab money as you ran out of your house on fire to pay the firefighters. Benjamin Franklin said, put the fire out first, worry about who's going to pay for it later. On your right is where one of Paul Revere's 16 sons are buried. And that's the beginning of the movie Hustle. On your right, this is the church that the British occupied in 1777. On your right, down below, is a cemetery where they shot at Nicolas Cage in the movie National Treasure. On your right is the St. Peter's Episcopal Church and Cemetery, where the famous Mifflin, Dallas, and Stephen Decatur are buried on your right. You ever heard of Dallas, Texas? Decatur, Texas, named after Philadelphians. Watch the branches coming up on your right.
Yeah, right.
On your left, this black Flemish bound brick building, that is Kosciuszko's house. He was the Polish general engineer credited with the design of West Point Military Academy and Fort Ticonderoga. All of these houses on your left and your right are worth several to $5 million each. This was a heavily populated, oh guys, I got trees coming up.
Yeah.
This was a heavily populated African community until they reenacted the Fugitive Slave Law Act. High up above on your right, you'll see 3 tan buildings. Those were designed by I.M. Pei, 1960. Africans had to leave these properties and run to Canada or they would be retaken into slavery. Now coming up on your left, I got trees coming up over here, guys. I got trees coming up. After these brownstones on your left, watch your trees on the right, watch your trees on the right, coming up here.
Whoa!
On your left, the big white door right here on your left. This is the famous Mayor Samuel Powell's house on your left right here. He was the mayor of Philadelphia when the British were here and when the British left. He played both sides of the American Revolutionary War. He was the first person to get paid. On your right, you're looking at where they wrote Common Sense right here by Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine also wrote the first document that prevented slavery in the United States. You gonna tell me y'all ain't got potholes like this in England?
We have, don't worry about that. But we ain't on big buses, we're on little cars.
Now on your front right, see that gray building designed by William Strickland? That's the Merchants Exchange. Look up at the top. Can you see the staircasing going up to the top? That's where they sent the person with the best eyesight to identify the ships coming up on the river. The flags told you the cargo and where they were from. Before the ship docked, they bought and sold all the goods. That's insider trading. On your left, look across the grass quad. See the building, the colonial building on your left? That's the famous Carpenter's Hall, 1774, the first Continental Congress. You know, taxation without representation is tyranny. On your left, this building with the columns is the first bank of the United States. On your right, you're looking at the American Revolutionary War Museum. Can you see that African right here on your right? That's James Fortin. That's the first African millionaire of the United States. He was a 13-year-old gunpowder boy under Stephen Decatur. went to jail with Stephen Decatur when the British captured his ship. He learned how to work every apparatus on the ship. He invented a pulley apparatus for handling larger ship sails. The larger your ship sail, the more wind can get underneath it, the faster you can go across the world. That's called JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Oh, he would pull up and just stop right there, Jerry. We gotta make it right. And it's a fire hydrant.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Oh.
Now, on your right, can you see the two ladies in lovely blue right here? These are our parking authority ladies. They have their own television show. On your left, where you see Winnie the Pooh right here on your left, this is one of the best souvenir shops in Philadelphia right here on your left. It's called Zeno's. On your right, this is the customs house. On your right is where we used to get our passports in 2 to 3 hours before 9/11. Now you have to go to the 600 block of Chestnut Street. How long does it take to get a passport to get out of England?
Oh, it's quite a while then.
Few weeks.
Even if you want to pay extra money?
Fast track, I think.
Speed it up. Yeah, you can speed it up a few days.
Now, we're about to go to what's called International Restaurants Row in front of us. But as you see the different restaurants, sit back and relax. You're going to get a free, no hands, gluteus maximum massage. This is called Belgian block, not cobblestone. You'll notice there's Middle Eastern restaurants, there's Indian restaurants, Afghanistani restaurants, Korean restaurants, Japanese restaurants, German restaurants, African American restaurants. And let's clear up a historical misconception. Who is Pennsylvania actually named after? William Penn's father, the Admiral of the British Navy, not William Penn. If it was up to William Penn, this would be the state of New Wales with the city of Philadelphia inside. Quakers are not allowed to name anything after themselves, so this is named after Admiral Sir William Penn's father. On your right, just a few yards down, is where the United States Marines started, the Tun Tavern. On your right, you'll see the Irish Memorial, as we are now on top of I-95, the highway from Maine to Florida. See, that's another part of it. You're taking it easy on us. On your left, you're looking at the Benjamin Franklin Bridge, 1926. On your right, you see the Seaport Museum. On your right, can you see the battleship USS New Jersey?
Yeah.
And that's the Delaware River. This is where New Year's Eve, Penn's Landing at 6 o'clock. We have fireworks for the little children. See what it looks like in the winter?
Yeah.
We have fireworks at 6 o'clock and then midnight for the adults. Now, on the other side on your right of the Delaware River is Camden, New Jersey. Camden, New Jersey is well known for good Campbell's soup. That's not in England?
Yeah.
Now that ice skating rink down on your right, that's going to be a roller skating rink. Now on your left, across the highway, can you see the wall where that garbage truck is at? All of this was the Delaware River before they pushed it back. This is all landfill. When it rains real hard, the river claims it back. Anybody for my next stop? That church steeple on your left, Christ Church? If not, our next stop will be Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell. Now on your right, after this brown wall, on your right, you'll see the flag. It's a mural. It represents those that died September the 11th. Can you see it? All the way down there.
Yeah. Oh,
And there's a Dave & Buster's down there, Rivers Casino, and a hibachi Japanese house and grill. It's like a Benihana's. Coming up on your left, you'll see the guy with the eagle on his shoulder. That's Tiedemann, the London operator that met William Penn. On your left, you'll see the word bar. That was the London coffee house where the Africans were sold as slaves. On your left, you'll see the fire escapes. On your left, that's Shane's Candy Store, the oldest candy store in America. That's where sugar diabetes was invented. And right next to it, which says Philly Steaks, that's where we're having an exhibit on how women had to fight to achieve equal rights, not only in America, but in the world. Now, up above on your right, you'll see Christ Church. At one time, that was the tallest building in the world. And that's where you'll find the famous George Washington's pew, Benjamin Franklin's pew, Betsy Ross's pew, Robert Morris's pew. Robert Morris is the man that helped finance the American Revolutionary War. He signed the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, and the Constitution. And he financed the president's house twice. How did America pay back Robert Morris? They didn't. No. He ended up in debtor's prison. No good deed goes unpunished. On your left, you're looking at the eateries on your left. Old Brothers, Campos, Sonny's, big slices of pizza on your left. I can't say the whole thing. And happy hour starts here at 4 o'clock. We love pizza so much, we have an all-pizza museum called Pizza Brain. You ever had Gorgonzola cheese on your pizza?
No.
Oh, it's to die for.
Is it?
Oh, you will love it. And the newest restaurant is Angry Joe's on your left, which I haven't tried yet. They say they got spicy chicken. Jerry said the chicken is pretty spicy. Now, coming up on our left where we cross over this intersection, you're gonna see big yellow building. It's Benjamin Franklin's post office, free printing shop, and $5 underground museum on the life of Benjamin Franklin. It is the only post office in America that does not wave the American flag. If it did, the British would have burned it down. He didn't wave any flag. And behind this post office on your left, Benjamin Franklin had 2 gigantic houses with no address. He didn't pay real estate taxes. How do you get your mail with no address?
Yeah.
He was the post office. But the root of Benjamin Franklin's success was his unknown wife. Do you know her name? And I gave you a clue. Mrs. Franklin. Deborah Reed Franklin was our first female postmaster general and printer, but unofficially, because back then they didn't give women credit for their achievements. She made Benjamin Franklin more money when he was away than he made when he was here. Wouldn't you say that's the root of his success?
Yeah.
In front of you on your right, across the intersection, the Museum of Illusions. That is the hottest museum and newest in Philadelphia right now. We are about to come to the end of our tour. In front of us, up above, can you see the letters PSFS? Stands for Please Stop Filming Stallone. No, Philadelphia Savings Fund Society. Back in the day, we had banking in the elementary schools. They stopped because almost every year the bank is gobbled up by another bank. Is it that way in England?
Yeah.
You got to keep changing the paperwork. One year, a Florida bank bought Philadelphia called First Union. We had to change everything to FU in Philadelphia. Now it's Wells Fargo. Oh, somebody just jumped out in front of the bus. Oh, Jerry, why didn't you take him out? Oh. Thanks, Jerry, for not taking him out. That would have been a lot of paperwork. On your left, where you see those trash cans, that's the Liberty Bell, and there's no line for the bell. See the person going right in? On your right, at the Visitor Center, see the words in Delaware right here? Those words on your right are all about what would America be like if the documents that started this country had put women and Africans in the documents. There would be no need for the 13th, 14th, 15th, or 19th Amendment of the Constitution. In front of you, up above on your left, can you see the clock tower with the bell? In front, on the left. That's where the Liberty Bell used to hang before it cracked. The bell you're looking at is the 1876 Centennial Bell. In front of you on your left, see the building with the balcony right here? That's Congress Hall. On your right, House of Representatives on the first floor and the Senate on the second. On your left, down below, you'll see the Liberty Bell and the glass enclosure. That bell on your left used to hang up above on your right before it cracked. It was the State House bell. At the corner on your right, you'll see that last building. That's old City Hall where the Supreme Court met. On your right was the judicial, watching trees on the left, legislative and executive branches of government. On your right, in the back, there's a red brick building, the Free South Coast Society Lonely Library. Early to bed, early to rise, makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. 3 people can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. Fish and visitors both stink in 3 days. Let's give a round of applause to our driver Jerry for getting us to the city safely.
Woo!
And who is Pennsylvania named after?
Jerry.
William Penn's father, the Admiral of the British Navy, not William Penn. Guys, the next tour leaving here is going to be at 4 o'clock. It's going to be in front of us where you see that red bus in front of us. If you need to use the bathroom, to your right front, that orange building is the Force. That's where you could go in and use the restroom, because these historical buildings, none of them have bathrooms. It wasn't invented yet. It was called the Privy. So watch your heads. If you have trash, there's a trash can at the bottom of the stairs. And check and make sure you got your belongings and everything. Oh, she's wearing Chuck Taylors right there. Yeah, with no arch supports. That's what, hey, back in my day, our arch supports were steel with leather. The steel was in the middle of the leather. Now you got Dr. Soul's inserts, you know, with the gel and stuff like that. So guys, the next bus is going to pull up in front of us right there. And it's going to start the last tour today at 4 o'clock. So right now, on your left, you have an opportunity to do the Liberty Bell, or you could go back here and go to Congress Hall.
Absolutely brilliant. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe for many more New York, USA videos. Thank you very much. Next stop, Washington.